Hello guys, we are on a 6 ferry ride away from Leyte Island, where we'll begin our journey from Cebu City to Mayon Volcano. Next 2 weeks we'll cover more than 2000 kilometers by motorbike. Ahead of us are incredible adventures, breathtaking landscapes, volcanoes, waterfalls, Pacific coastline, local cuisine, tropical fruits, and plenty of exotic places where few Western tourists have ever set foot. So grab a drink, prepare some snacks, get comfortable, and join us to explore the Visayan Islands of the Philippines. But first things first, our initial task is to reach Ormoc City on Leyte Island. The ferry arrives in the evening, so we'll spend first night there before starting the overland part of our trip. The ferry takes about 6 hours, the seats recline, gives us plenty of time to relax and observe the local wildlife and passengers. By sunset, our cruise was over. So, welcome to Leyte and welcome to Ormoc. The sign at the port proudly states that Leyte is home to one of the largest geothermal fields. Visiting it wasn't part of our plan this time, though I've already seen geothermal power plants on Negros Island, so we'll save that adventure for another trip. For dinner we headed to the local market and grabbed some barbecue skewers. Interestingly, they add star anise to the marinade here, giving the meat distinctive flavor. The city felt lively and welcoming in the evening. We walked around, explored a few local landmarks, and quickly noticed a lot of pineapple decorations. That's when we realized Ormoc is considered the pineapple capital of the Philippines. Good morning everyone! Today marks the beginning of the road trip portion of our adventure. We are leaving Ormoc behind and heading to Catbalagan City on Samar, about 240 kilometers away. It's going to be a busy day. We'll cross what was once the longest bridge in the Philippines, connecting Leyte and Samar, and later experience an exciting rafting trip on the Lot River. Along the way, we'll make a few stops to visit a provincial museum and get a glimpse of everyday life in the Philippine countryside. The first 100 kilometers passed surprisingly quickly, and before long we found ourselves crossing the famous San Juanico Bridge. Samar welcomed us with rain, but also with some incredibly delicious orange bananas.
JT on the beats. Goes a little sound like this. Look, cut that the car in the mix, I twist, yeah, I stay shredding. Today I fell inside myself and watched the sun setting. Over my city, yeah, hit me, lit me like 25 blunts and dizzy. If you saw me in the front, you know that's cap busy. I stay funkin' on them like old Greg. My dad is supposed to slow death. I'll be hanging on top of a closed pen. Flow dead, hoes dead, closed legs, brown red. Don't really fuck with all of these rappers. I'd rather go fucking cactus. Smoke with the Draculas, light a matches and lightness backwards. Darkness attaches and fractures deep in the phones and hatches. Now I'm selling jokes to the Holy Ghost. He holds the smoke and devote my soul. Roaming road with the golden glow. I know that my dennis is dripping the trail, so once it's now behind to show the flow. Along the stream of dreams, I rode the boat. Suicide City, yo, for the lazy, yo, that my dennis is suffering that comatose. Yeah, I'm just trying to drop that far inside your mind. Whoa. Yeah, I'm just trying to drop that far inside your mind.
If it was funny on the way there, on the way back we sailed under a heavy downpour. Honestly, spending 40 minutes in that kind of rain is not the most pleasant experience. But there was a strong feeling that we are inside some Jungle Explorers movie. After saying goodbye to the Lot River, we covered the final stretch of the journey and arrived in Katarman. The town itself doesn't really stand out much, it's more of a technical stop on the way to main attractions. But behind us was Leyte Island, 40 kilometers of travel and river adventure. So it was time to get off the bike, walk around the streets, have dinner, drink some beer and head to the hotel to rest. We are starting the third day of trip on Samar, and today we have a fairly long transfer to Luzon ahead of us. We will return to Samar in 4 days, but for now there is a ferry ahead, so we had to leave early and then continue a short stretch to the city of Sorsogon. By Philippine standards, the first 50 kilometers weren't particularly scenic, and road potholes were quite annoying, which soon led to an unexpected repair. Somewhere along the way we got a rare tire puncture, patched it up and kept going. Unfortunately the patch didn't hold for long, and at the next town we had to buy a new tire. Pretty frustrating. In the city of Kalbayok we visited the Samar Archaeological Museum, located at university campus. We saw fossils and bones, and one of the highlights was a local percussion instrument called kun. They even let us to play it. We reached the border between two Samars. On banner there is actually an image of Piri Island, which we will visit 5 days later. But for now it's time to move on. Don't be fooled by sunshine, just 5 minutes later we got caught in awful downpour and rode in it all the way to the port. Even after we were already on the ferry, the storm caught up with us again. Then it was time to set sail, 1.5 hour ride on a comfortable ferry where could eat, nap and prepare for the final push of the day. Luckily, when we landed on Luzon, the rain had already stopped, so as tradition dictates, welcome to Luzon. You could say the weather even improved. We got a view of our first active Luzon volcano, Bulusan or Buluzen, and the rest of the ride went quickly with a beautiful scenery. We were greeted by friendly locals and spent the night under avocado trees. The next day the host even gave us a couple of them. Day 4 of our journey, we woke up and unexpectedly discovered that we had also been sleeping under another important port of our trip, the Pili Nut Tree. The Sorsogon area is famous for it, and our first stop that day was a local shop selling pili-based products. We tried some, stocked up, and continued exploring Luzon. The day was bright and sunny, and the Sorsogon surroundings looked incredibly vibrant. It really felt like we were far away from Cebu. There seemed to be more palm trees everywhere. We are in a quite interesting place. It's called Boiling Sea. But now sea level is quite high, but anyway we can feel it. I'm standing in the river like this, and here on the top the water is quite cold, but you go deeper and you feel warmer. But I'm standing in my legs and they feel that it's very hot. Well, not very, but quite hot. And you can find some places and even boil eggs here. We are now close to one of the furthest and most anticipated points of our trip, Mayon Volcano, so we are not rushing. We had already caught a glimpse of it, and today's goal are hot springs. We stopped at interesting spots along the way, including a hot lake where I eventually fell at the end of this video cut. Who hasn't fallen hasn't fallen. We get up, shook it off, and move on. Eventually, on the third attempt, we found hot springs. Mission completed. We even boiled eggs there and had a snack. Now, try to boil eggs right here for a few minutes. It's properly cooked by nature. Along the roads there was a lot going on. As mentioned earlier, there are many coconut palms here because locals dry coconuts to produce copra, dried coconut meat, which is everywhere along the roads. We also saw a lot of handmade brooms for sale, rice fields, and rice being dried by the roadside. These flags mark a fiesta, a local festival, decorating the roads and adding color to the scenery. We are getting closer and closer to Mayon Volcano and the city of Legazpi. The next 3 nights we will spend in its surroundings near Ligawa, so there will be plenty more volcano views ahead. The rest of the evening I did not film much, I was busy making and eating shashlik. Good morning. We woke up near Ligawa in a rural, very cozy and quiet place surrounded by fruit trees and garden. We will spend next 2 nights here exploring the area around Mayon Volcano and cuisine of Bicol region, which is known for chili peppers, sili, combined with coconut milk. There is silly ice cream, and we ordered one portion with the most highest with the highest spice level, and now we try. So it's with the chili. It's spicy, but still tasty. Very nice. In the evening, the clouds around Mayon cleared, revealing its perfect cone, a kind of tropical brother of Mount Fuji. We took photos, recorded videos, and enjoyed the sunset before heading back for barbecue and beer. Day 6, we continue to explore Nalbai province. Behind Mayon are two other mountains, Masaraga and Molinao. The plan was to visit an observatory on the volcano slopes, but access roads were closed due to Alert Level 3. We also received multiple ash eruption alerts during this day. The next morning, after we had already left, the volcano erupted again and covered the area in ash. We didn't worry about closed observatory and decided to visit two waterfalls. At the first one I didn't swim, pretending I forgot my swimwear, but at the second I couldn't resist and stood under the powerful stream. We also visited a remarkable church built in 1587. During the devastating 1814 Mayon eruption it was destroyed. Only the bell tower remained. Nearby we bought souvenirs, including chili peppers, a symbol of Albay. It's time for our late lunch. We are continuing to sample Bicol cuisine. We came for Pinangat and Inulucan. Both dishes are prepared in similar way, lots of stewed taro leaves, coconut pulp, spices and meat, such as pork or crab. It's all wrapped in gabi and coconut leaves. I wouldn't say that dishes left a huge impression on me. The flavor is already quite distinctive. More meat and fewer leaves would have been nice, but I like the crab one better. With drinks, it cost around 300 pesos, so it's a huge plus. The day is drawing to a close, meaning it's time to head home. 2 days in a row there was shashlik, and one morning there was a grilled salmon steak, meaning it's time to make lule kebab and digest the impressions of the day. We woke up on the morning of the seventh day, smiling, and today we are heading back to Samar. Our plan is to take the longer coastal road to the port of Matnok and cross by ferry, ready to depart early morning for Biri Island. But first a quick stop to stock up on the local pastry, puto macapuna rice. There are so many stalls along the way, we'll grab a bite later. We are slowly leaving Albay, say goodbye to Mayon Volcano and head towards Sorsogon, where we already spent the night. In general, I liked the area around Sorsogon just as much as the province of Albay. We stopped in Barcelona, a very picturesque region with volcanoes, beaches and beautiful roads. If I had known, I would have stayed there for another day.
Running out of time. I still see a silver lining. You'll be on my mind. Think I'll stop the go from trying.
Soon we reached the port. It came back to hunt us that we'd taken the wrong route, and at the ticket counter we were told to turn back 5 kilometers because there was a checkpoint where they issued registration and ferry line numbers. Then the agonizing wait began. 4 lines to be assigned to ticket counters, buy a ticket, pay the port fee and get Coast Guard stamps. We arrived just before 1 p.m. After 1 hour and a half waiting we reached the port, but even there we were divided into groups and told to wait. Another hour and a half of waiting was saved by the pastries we bought that morning. By the way, the rice cake with coconut filling was delicious. We'd planned to leave on the ferry at least by 3 p.m., but there is no set schedule, no one says anything, just wait. Because of this we had to skip a couple of locations in Samar, as we arrived well after sunset. We waited some more and almost 4 hours later we started loading. The ferry was more like a floating barn. You sit on benches, but at least there is a makeshift buffet set up by the sailors. And this is how passengers amuse themselves, throwing out whole wads of 20 peso bills, where the locals collect them as fast as they can. The rain of money looks fun, there were more than one such passengers. In the end, the entire journey from Matnok Port to Alan took us almost 7 hours. It was a bit disappointing to miss the places we had planned after arriving in Alan, so we had dinner and went to bed. Day 8 we decided to start early to visit the locations planned for the previous day and make it to Beary Island. But the weather had other plans. It seems like it hadn't stopped raining since we left. The hotel staff told us our breakfast was a little late because they have pause. We had breakfast and then I faced the difficult choice: sail to the island in bad weather or simply move to the next overnight spot. But the journey was short, less than 100 kilometers, and what to do all day was open question. We decided to try to reach the island since there would not be another chance on this trip. And the point was a key one. Small boats go to the islands, but we were warned right away that there are no return boats. On shore, we agreed on a return trip for 8,800 pesos and then we set off. Upon arrival, we took a tour of the ocean shore. We had a snack before the start, it was delicious, and then we headed to the first location. I saw the Pacific Ocean for the first time. Unfortunately, the weather wasn't perfect for swimming. We waited out the rain, bought magnets and headed to the next location. There are 7 such rocks on the island and we saw 6 of them. The 4 hours on Biri flew by quite fast. It's an impressive place, not something you see every day, but it's time to say goodbye. The private boat ride back was comfortable, allowing us to sit, lay down and even get our feet wet. We are finishing the last leg of our journey today. We arrived after sunset, which means it's time to relax, sort photos and absorb our impressions. Day 9. Today we are driving along the Pacific coast. The rainy weather is slowly leaving us behind and we are moving away from the larger cities by summer standards and far away from civilization. The roads are becoming more beautiful, the ocean is closer and our spirits are higher. We looked at local handicrafts, bought myself a hat, that one which I hold in my hand. The others were a bit too small and we are moving on. The Pacific coast here is more rocky than beachy. There are some cliffs similar to what we saw yesterday at Beere, so we decided to take a closer look. The sound of the ocean was coming from the hull, and the suddenness of its appearance was a bit startling of us at first. I don't know if it was captured on video, but we were quite far from shore. We stopped at a beautiful spot and had a picnic. We had a can of Russian spread in tomato sauce with us. This was probably the first time Black Sea spread had been found in Pacific waters. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Once more? Seasonal na ata yun.
Mr. Pickles, please won't you pick up the phone? You belong all over the world, from the Bronx to LA, way up north by the bay, slickest oil of Olay.
It was gradually getting dark. We stopped at the market and saw a sign for tuba. It's a low alcohol drink made from coconut palm sap. I'd seen it at Cebu, but never tried it. We finally decided to grab some and had a glass with some local kebabs. Recently we bought 2 liters of tuba coconut wine, but unfortunately we saved only one because the bottle fall from the bike. And now let's try because it's the first time, never tried before. Smells like vinegar, but with the sugar, something sweet. Ooh. It tastes no sweetness at all. Some wood cask, something like this, but quite interesting. Not carbonated at all. Tasty, approved. Day 10, we woke up by the ocean, the weather returning to its unusual sunny course. We had a hearty breakfast and hit the road. Today, our destination hit the eastern tip of Samar, the city of Guyuan, and continued exploration of the Pacific Ocean coast.
Hold me close just for the night. I'm feeling contagious, like minimum wages. Put my hands in my mind. While the coming of ages, they play on the stages. In my heart, out of my mind. 'Cause we're no mistaken, different changes, but I keep it moving around. Right around, right around.
We stopped for a swim at a beach park, a beautiful spot with clear water and plenty of fish. We wanted to walk to the end of the park, but bees blocked our path. We could have walked under them, but we didn't want to risk it. So we stopped in a quiet spot and enjoyed the warm water. The water in the lagoon is salter, keeping you afloat without any extra effort. And so, while lounging in the water, I felt the earthquake. The video probably did not convey the tremors and vibrations very well, but in the water it felt like you were afloat between a fishing rod and a bight, being pulled from side to side. It was an unusual situation. We've recovered from the emotions and are moving on. A magnitude 6 earthquake struck somewhere nearby the ocean, but there is no threat of tsunami, and we have now covered 1,500 kilometers. Coconuts are drying everywhere along the roads, and you can constantly smell the pleasant aroma of coconut oil or local pastry bibinka. We spent a lot of time on the beach, which meant it was time for lunch. We stocked up on mangoes and headed to the next stop. It's a cove with a natural stone bridge. It feels like it will become a popular tourist destination in the next 10 years, but for now there aren't any even signs pointing to it. It's all better for us, we were completely alone there and enjoyed the still untouched beauty. The final spot for the day was unfortunately already closed, but we weren't disappointed. We stopped at the market where we bought some meat and fish and marinated it there. We drove the rest of the way after sunset, but it's worth remembering that the sun sets early. It's already dark here by 6, so it's still really early. And to my surprise, almost the entire 40 kilometers road was illuminated. Well, today's goals are accomplished, all that left to grill some shashlik and fish, have delicious meal and then go to rest. Day 11, we planned a rest break staying 2 nights in one place. There is a lot to see here, so let's hit the road. Perhaps based on previous days it seemed like we are visiting 2 or 3 places and not particularly busy, but let me remind that we are also covering about 200 kilometers each day of the trip. The roads, while beautiful, I don't think it's worth showing them in a video, at least not too much. And here the first location for today. The path to it leads through a flooded cave. It's a cave with a lagoon filled with a crystal clear water. Its depth reaches up to 10 meters, but the camera has a hard time capturing that depth. We weren't alone in the cave. Monkeys looked at us, confirming we'd arrived without food, while we took a dip in the pleasant water. The ocean is bountiful in fish and sea creatures. Dried fish of all kinds is sold along the roads, but unfortunately it's not like snack for beer. Locals use it for cooking, it's re-soaked, pounded and then used in many dishes. Meanwhile, we found ourselves on Tubabao Island. This is the only trace of Russians in the Philippines history that I know of. Housed a refuge camp for those evacuated from China after the communist takeover in late 1940s. Some Russians ended up in China because of the communists, having resettled after the revolution. The Philippines was the only country willing to accept 6,000 refugees, offering them this island. Judging by the book, conditions here were far from easy. Unknown natural conditions, diseases, typhoons, and general uncertainty about the future overshadowed the tropical paradise. The camp and Orthodox church were completely destroyed by typhoon. We returned to the main island and checked out the market. Frankly, we were already looking forward to shashlik that day. Had we known the market was so plentiful, we would have changed our plans. The sun was approaching sunset, so it was time to find a place to watch it. On the eastern tip of Samar is the Pagasa weather station, which sends typhoon warnings to the entire country. Typhoons are common here. The station is located on a hill and the grounds are open to the public. Well, we watched the sunset, barbecued shashlik for the 6th time for this trip, had a delicious meal and now we can look at the stars. Recognize constellation? And it's time to rest. Day 12, we are smoothly approaching the end of our vacation. Thanks to Guyan for the warm welcome, we really enjoyed the place. Today our destination is Tacloban, the largest city in the later Samar Island. But before that, as always, we'll visit a few interesting places. The bells of Balangiga are a symbol of the Philippines' resistance during the Philippine-American War at the very beginning of the 20th century. In this city, Filipino guerrillas attacked on American garrison. In retaliation, the Americans practically destroyed the city and took the bells as trophies. They were only returned in 2018. Meanwhile, we arrived at Sahaton Park. There we'll take a river ride, visit caves and see the park's highlight, natural stone bridges, which we'll reach by kayak. The place is very picturesque and once again you feel far from civilization.
Calcium carbonate, so the white color like here is kind of pure minerals. The brown one here, this is the kind of minerals that lives on the soil. They deposit the calcite in the ground, and this is the calcite formations that they call stalagmites. And this is the considered area here as the last part of the chamber. It's more like a Siberian place. It's more like an old man. Like there's no size.
Alam ko yung monitor dito. Marunong. Even Tagalog.
And what height?
Oh, estimate maybe it's 15 meters high. And there's a block. That's the male's room, and this area here we consider as a female's room because people.
The cave is impressive, with many chambers and various formations. Not all of them fit into the video. How about the last one? The stone bridges are simply wow-worthy. One of them feels like it's about 20 meters high. We took a swim in the river underneath it. Here we are again at the San Juanico Bridge. Goodbye Samar, forever in my heart. We are greeted by the city of Tacloban. As is our tradition, we stopped at the market, bought some meat, and that evening cooked shashlik for the 7th and final time on this trip, before relaxing in jacuzzi. Here it is, the final 13th day of our journey. We have to get from Tacloban to Ormoc. The ferry leaves at 10 p.m, so we essentially still have a full day. We choose interesting route and set off. We arrived at General MacArthur's Landing. During the World War II, the Philippines were occupied by the Japanese, and in 1944, the largest naval battle of the entire war took place here. In 1942, the American garrison was forced to retreat to Australia. General MacArthur said, "I shall return," and he kept his promise. 2 years later, he landed here, and a memorial was made from a photograph of this event. Rainy weather again. As I've learned, it always rains in the Philippines. It just sometimes doesn't rain directly above you. We donned our raincoats and moved on. There is still plenty to see ahead. We arrived at the hot springs. The giant pumpkin in the video is a spring that has been carrying hot water for several thousand years, forming this rock. The hot spring still gushes above, where your feet need to get used to the high temperature. There are smaller springs, but they are also quite hot. The rain had almost stopped, the sun was shining in its usual way, and it was even hot, and we reached the Agas-Agas Bridge. Its height is 89 meters, making it the tallest in the Philippines. You can feel the height, and I thought I wouldn't want to be here during the earthquake. Our journey is coming to the end. Thank you for being here and watching us. I'm glad to share these experiences with you and show you something interesting. We finished our journey in Ormoc at the night market, where we had dinner, just like the day we started our journey, and then leisurely boarded the ferry.